I want to talk about something that doesn't get nearly enough attention in education. Not curriculum, not teaching quality, not school resources, what students believe about themselves. Because of all the factors that shape academic performance, one of the least visible is also one of the most powerful. What a student believes about their own capacity to learn, to improve, and to succeed. This isn't motivational fluff. It's a well-established principle in neuro-linguistic programming, the same discipline that underpins all the strategies in the LAS app. And today I want to walk you through exactly how it works. Let's start with a definition, because most people misunderstand what a belief is. In the NLP framework, a belief is simply what a person thinks they can achieve, and the reasons that support that conclusion. It's not a fact. It's not a fixed reality. It's a position, and that position is supported by evidence. And here's what matters most about that. Evidence is something that can be built, reframed, and added to. Think about two students preparing for a maths exam. One believes they can do well, the other believes they can't. Neither of those is an objective statement of truth, but both of them will produce behavior that's consistent with the belief. The student who believes they can. They prepare with confidence. They engage with hard material. They push through when it gets difficult. The student who believes they can't, they avoid the subject. They dismiss their own effort as pointless before they even start. They disengage. The belief came first. The result followed. Beliefs don't just reflect reality, they create it. This is why building beliefs is foundational to everything else in the LAS methodology. The learning strategies work. They genuinely produce results. But a student who doesn't believe they're capable of those results will apply the strategies inconsistently or dismiss early progress as luck rather than evidence of real improvement. In the LAS framework, a belief is compared to a house. The size and quality of the house depends on what you believe is possible. And just like a real house, it can always be extended, improved, added to. Every house needs 3 structural elements to stand: a foundation, walls, and a roof. And beliefs are built from exactly 3 corresponding elements. The foundation is past experiences, not the events themselves, but how you interpret those events, the meaning you assign to what happened. That's what determines whether your foundation is solid or full of cracks. The walls are affirmations, what you say to yourself, internally and in response to what others say about you. That voice in your head is building your belief system all day, every day. It's laying bricks constantly. The question is, what kind of bricks? The roof is expectations, what you expect to happen, and crucially, when you expect it. Realistic expectations, ones that are grounded in genuine knowledge of the process, complete the structure, and protect everything underneath. And then there are the rooms. Each new belief you build becomes another room in the house. The bigger your belief system, the larger the house, and the more you're able to achieve. What I love about this framework is how actionable it is. You can't change what happened to you, but you can change how you interpret it. You can't control what others say, but you can choose what you say to yourself in response. And you can develop realistic expectations, not by lowering your ambitions, but by understanding the process well enough that your timeline is grounded. Each of those 3 elements is something any student can work on every single day. Let's go deeper on the first element, past experiences. The critical insight here is the difference between what happened and how you interpret it. 2 students can have the exact same experience. They both study hard. They both do poorly on a test. Person A concludes, I'm just not good at maths. The resulting belief, I can't do maths. The resulting behavior, avoidance, disengagement. The resulting outcome, continued difficulty, which confirms the belief. Person B concludes, the way I studied wasn't right. I need a better method. The resulting belief, I can do maths if I find the right approach. The resulting behavior, looking for a better strategy, persisting. The resulting outcome, improvement, which strengthens the belief. The experience was identical. The interpretation was not. And it's the interpretation, not the event itself, that shapes what follows. This means something huge for students who have a history of academic difficulty, that history is not a reliable predictor of future performance. Not unless the student interprets it as proof of permanent limitation. Reframe the interpretation, and the same history becomes evidence of resilience. A record of effort. A foundation for a more effective approach. The second element is affirmations. What a student says to themselves. Most students have a constant internal dialogue running throughout the school day. That dialogue is building something, whether the student intends it to or not. I'm terrible at this subject. That's a brick. I always blank in exams. That's a brick. I'll never understand this. That's a brick. And each one of those bricks is going into walls that are either supporting achievement or undermining it. What other people say also matters, but not in the way most people think. What someone else says only becomes part of a student's belief system if the student accepts it. A student who hears, "You're not clever enough," and agrees internally, they're building a wall with that material. A student who hears the same thing and responds, even just silently, with, "That's not true, and I'll prove it." They're building a completely different wall from the exact same interaction. The key is what you say to yourself. A student who learns to build specific, evidence-based affirmations, "I improved my score last term, which means I can improve it again," is laying bricks that build toward achievement, one conversation at a time. The third element is expectations. And this one is where a lot of well-intentioned effort falls apart. Expectations become damaging in one very specific way, when they're disconnected from timing. A student who expects to go from failing to distinction in 2 weeks and doesn't has not failed to improve. They've held an expectation that wasn't grounded in how the process actually works. And the disappointment that follows can damage the very belief that was driving the effort. There's a great analogy in the LAS framework, the orange tree. If you plant an orange seed expecting fruit in 6 months, you'll be deeply disappointed. Not because anything went wrong, but because an orange tree takes 6 years to mature. Knowledge of the process is what makes the expectation realistic. And realistic expectations are achievable ones. For students, this means understanding the learning process well enough to know what progress looks like at each stage, not interpreting the absence of instant results as evidence that nothing is working. The LAS strategies provide exactly that roadmap. Each strategy is a step in a process. Knowing the process makes the timeline manageable. One of the most powerful insights in this whole framework is the compounding effect of daily practice. The LAS Beliefs Journal is built around this principle. Each day, a student records 3 things. 1 past experience that supports the belief they want to build. Could be small. I understood that concept in class today. 1 affirmation, a specific, positive statement about their ability or progress. I'm getting better at this every time I practice. 1 expectation, realistic and grounded. I expect to understand this chapter fully by the end of the week. 3 reasons per day for 30 days. That's 90 reasons why a student believes they can. 3 reasons a day for a year? Over 1,000 reasons. The belief that comes from that accumulation is not fragile, positive thinking. It's a conviction built on a genuine body of personal evidence. It becomes, in the language of the framework, a very large and very solidly built house. It might seem unusual for a learning app to include a section dedicated to beliefs. Most EdTech products focus exclusively on content, the what of learning, not the who of the learner. But the research behind LAS found consistently that the most technically capable students are not always the highest achievers. What separated top performers from underperformers of equal ability, in a significant number of cases, what they believed about themselves. A student with strong strategies but fragile self-belief will apply those strategies inconsistently. They'll give up when things get hard. They'll interpret setbacks as confirmation of inadequacy rather than as information about what to try next. The belief strategy doesn't replace the other 7 strategies. It amplifies them. A student who genuinely believes they can achieve approaches their revision differently. They engage with new material with curiosity rather than frustration. They use each strategy with the expectation that it will work, which makes it more likely to be applied correctly and consistently. The key principle is that belief is not a prerequisite for action. Action is the path to belief. You don't need to feel confident before you start. You build the confidence by starting, by recording what happens, by collecting evidence one day at a time. The Beliefs Journal in the LAS app is designed to be used daily. A few minutes, 3 entries, building toward a belief system that makes every other strategy more effective. You can download it now from the Google or Apple stores.